In this video, we're going to continue our tutorial series on the tune Skating from Charlie Brown Christmas. This is where Snoopy gets on the ice with his cohorts and basically skates around without any skates on, which is kind of cool. And it's a really fun tune in 3/4 swing, up tempo. And we ended off the last tutorial here. And we're just about to tackle the solo section, which is basically just 3 chords. And it goes just 3 chords over 4 bars over and over again. C, F, G, and F. And you're going to need some soloing ideas for this. If you want to think about it in terms of swing, a solo might sound like this. And then it gets increasingly more complicated. And so there's a mix of triads and blues and things in there. So let me give you some ideas to start thinking about soloing. So the first thing I think about when I think 3/4 swing is really the feel. So what you're looking for is to play 3/8 notes and then another 3/8 notes. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4. That's basically where it gets its feel from. So if you think about that in terms of, like those could even be triplets, then you want to start arpeggiating things to get that feel. So let me write something out for you here. I think it's a good idea just to play triads in the beginning. So in terms of C, let's start out with an G, my mistake, G, C, E. So it's just a C triad, and then go to C, E, G. So we're starting with the second inversion and then going to the first inversion. And then when we get to F, start with the first inversion, so A. And then G, same as the F, first inversion first. And then we're going to come down. Okay, so yeah, I mean, obviously simple, but that's the feel, those triplet patterns. What I can suggest at this point, along with what we're doing, so let's just take a variation of this and go G, C, E, but then what I want you to do is play the scale. So the first 3 notes are the same as the previous section, except now we're just bridging it to get to the F. So the F is the same chord to start with. And then we're going to come down the scale, and then G, D, so F, D, and G. And then we need to do something with F. So we can still do the same thing. So now what you're doing is you're bridging the triad with passing notes right from the scale. And then you can continue that with any inversion. So you can start here. And of course, anything from the scale is possible here, because really it's just 1, 4, 5, 1, or 1, 4, 5, 4, 1, where any note from the scale is going to work. Anything from the C major scale. But it's not going to sound very interesting if you just keep doing that. It's when you start to mix them up with the chords and the scales. It's a little bit difficult for me to do that because I'm a little bit past this, but that's a good way to start improvising. So when I think about it, I start to think about all kinds of other things that I can put in there. And let me suggest something that you can actually do here. And in this case, we're going to start thinking about putting an extra note in this scale. So we're going to go there, there, there. And then what we want to do is throw a G sharp in there. Kind of like, or not kind of like, it is a bebop scale. So when you're talking about major bebop, the sharp 5 or the flat 6 is the passing note. So then if you start mixing that up with the other things, so that G sharp kind of gives you that extra note from the bebop scale, which adds some flavor to it. Then on top of that, what I typically do is I start to throw in some bluesy type things. So what we're doing is, if you think about a C blues scale, it's C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, B flat, which is really the whole scale. So it's just like those 6 notes. Which kind of fits in 3/4 time. And then if you start mixing that up, and then kind of blue notes. It is a lot of fun to do this because most jazz compositions have lots of chords. This one really only has 3, 1, 4, 5, 4, back to 1. And it allows you to stretch a little bit and start to think about things a little more clearly. So let's just do a quick summary of what we've talked about. So we talked about playing triads, which is this. And then F. And then what we talked about was bridging triads with scales, where we're coming down the scale. Or you could do it down. You would have to find some passing notes. So whether you go up the triad and down the scale, or up or down the triad and up the scale, it's kind of like the same idea. They're passing notes to get to the next chord. And then we introduced the bebop scale, which is over here in this section, where you have that extra note thrown in there, which is the sharp 5 or the flat 13. And then we topped that off with some blues type things. And when you mix all of those together, it starts to sound like decent music. Lots of stuff in there to work on. I hope that's very helpful to you. You can check out the link to the sheet music below and also the backing tracks. So I've got bass and drums going for like 3 choruses of solos, which is a total of, I think, 16, 32, that's another 16, that's 48 bars, which makes a good amount of time to practice your solo. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers now. So that's very exciting because when we get there, I think lots of things start to happen. I can start to post links in the video rather than you going below and checking it out. I can post links to other videos. So I'm going to post one here to the entire recording that I did of Skating by Vince Guaraldi. And I hope you enjoy that. Please check that out because that'll give you some soloing ideas as well. Thanks so much for your time.